do better. As I went through this change, I noticed that a lot of things that I really liked before no longer appeal to me. You know, like some of the characters I used to really identify with, like Daria or Tyler Durden, now just seem pretentious and douchey. So I began to have a lot of questions for Mr. Harris. Like, why do you throw a public tantrum every time someone criticizes you? Why are you so quick to call every one of your detractors dishonest and malicious? Like, why can't you address these things without being a dick about it? You're a grown man. And as a result, it became less and less important to me to defend Sam Harris because I began imagining him less as an intellectual hero and more as a stubborn pedant that I just happen to agree with sometimes. To be fair, Sam Harris has talked about how social media often brings out the worst in him, and I can identify with that very strongly. I'm sure that I've lost a lot of followers after going too ham on Twitter. Either way, seeing these things happen so often made me more open-minded about criticisms of Sam Harris. But again, it's often hard to find intelligent, fair criticisms from people who actually seem to be familiar with Sam's actual views. But I realize that this may be by design. There's an argumentative strategy known as the Gish Gallop, in which a person overwhelms you with a lot of information and arguments all at once. This kind of thing is really hard to respond to adequately because you have to break down every claim and every statement and provide an intelligent answer to each one. This, of course, requires a lot of preparation and effort, much more effort than the galloper himself has expended, to be sure. Because of this, users of the Gish Gallop often get away with weak arguments because their opponents are simply unable or unwilling to put forth the massive amount of energy it takes to debunk the onslaught of bullshit they've just been presented with. Sam Harris does this all the time. A close examination of much of Harris's writing reveals the fact that he makes a lot of vague, underdeveloped, or ambiguously worded claims without ever really elaborating on them before moving on to the next talking point. And when inevitably called out on these things, he becomes defensive, claiming that he's being misrepresented. And as I mentioned, he also usually accuses his opponents of deliberately strawmanning him because of some apparent conspiracy to ruin his reputation. But the problem is he fills these essays and articles with claims and arguments that I find it hard to believe he doesn't understand are provocative and controversial. Yet he responds with incredulous astonishment whenever people have a negative reaction. I can't believe you read my article titled "In Defense of Profiling" and are now accusing me of defending profiling. You must be intentionally trying to ruin my reputation. The aforementioned essay, "In Defense of Profiling," contains the sentence, "We should profile Muslims, or anyone who looks like he or she could conceivably be Muslim, and we should be honest about it." After noticing that people were understandably pissed off by this, he included an addendum where he wrote, "I am not narrowly focused on people with dark skin. In fact, I included myself in the description of the type of person I think should be profiled, twice. To say that ethnicity, gender, age, nationality, dress, traveling companions,